So we see this image here. And team, what do you see when you see this image? What does this bring to mind?
Not wanting or not having to do things alone. Work as a group.
Ominous clouds. Lonely guy.
Ms. Hines?
By himself, and he feels as if the world is out to get him.
That's insightful. So we say, don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. We work as an organization and as a team. And in doing that, we have to learn how to collaborate, to work with each other, to delegate. Delegation does not mean abdication. So when we delegate something to someone else, we're still accountable for that. We're still responsible for that. We say that as we look at the school and the organization and as it grows, change is inevitable. And we see this staircase here. Now when we see this staircase is symbolic of something concerning change. So what are we talking about on this staircase? We see a vertical and we see a horizontal. So what is that indicative of, team?
A slope, rise and run.
Okay, so we got the slope, rise, and run mathematically. But as a staircase, we would say the rise and the tread. And the question is that as we what are we changing here when we go up that staircase?
So you're going up, you're going against gravity, then you're going forward.
So we're changing our elevation. Okay. And we're changing our elevation by what? Going up as well as going horizontally. Now the only purpose really to go horizontally in this case is to make it easier to go up. Because if we had an elevator, we would do a straight vertical lift, right?
Yes.
So the only reason that a staircase has some horizontalness to it is what? To lessen the effect of the gravitational pull, to make it a little easier to go up. Okay? And a lot of times when we face tasks and we face situations, we can't just what? Do a direct vertical on it. In order to make the change, sometimes we have to what? Do it incrementally. And that's where a lot of time we get pushback when we don't have the increments right. We get pushback. So it's important as we look about change and we know we have to make changes and we begin to try to institute changes in the school, it's important for us to do it what? Incrementally. That's why this staircase is in increments. Okay. Change is really the only thing that's constant. Life is always changing. Situations are always changing. Someone said that if you go down to a flowing river and you dip in, you never dip the same cup of water twice. Because it's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. We have to face reality in order to change, don't we? If we're going to make effective changes, we have to face the facts. And we make the changes based on the facts, not on our emotion, not on our whims, not on, a lot of hyperbole, but on the reality of what's really going on. Mental ascension, we talk about the idea of how we go from what we know to what we do and to what we teach. When we look at this graph, team, and we see this depiction here, this illustration, what is significant about what is being shown? What is the significant thing here that you see in terms of the way this is laid out?
There's a big gap between what we know and what we do.
Okay, and what does that illustrate?
Most times we know, but we don't do.
Okay, and how do we overcome that?
By closing the gap and put it into action. What we know, then we do, and what we do, then we start teaching.
Apply what we know.
Yes. Once we apply
When
what
she
we know.
said teaching, so what is the value of the teaching? What purpose does it serve? If we already knowing and doing, why are we teaching?
That so that you can show somebody else, help somebody else do what you're doing, be able to do what you can do.
So we are able then to divide the work and to multiply the results, right?
Yes.
We can't divide the work if people don't know what to do, can we?
Right.
So we have to teach so we can divide the work and multiply the results. And this is a good thing because what? It lessens the burdens on everyone. Okay. So mental ascension, what we know, what we do, and what we teach. And there's a great disparity between knowing and doing. And our job is what? To close that gap first in ourselves and then to make it happen in those for whom we're responsible. We must close the gap between what we know and what we do. Once we apply what we know, we must then teach. And that moves us into the area of communication and delegation. We use here as a basis for growth and development a term called the Proverbs process. And while we're not here to teach religion or to deal with anyone's salvation or anything like that, we're using the Bible because it is a common reference for everyone in this room. We took a poll, and this is the only book that I know that all of us supposedly have read or heard teachings from over a protracted period of time. So we're using this because of its commonality, not because of its divinity. And we want to share with you some things that are said here that leads to the growth and development of any organization, and particularly our school. So as we look here, we have Isaiah 11 and verse number 2. And I'm going to just ask someone to deal with that. And it says, as she's getting to that particular place, and if anyone else, if you have an electronic version, go on and pull that up.
It says, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, and the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we say then, this thing begins with knowledge, if we go from the bottom up. And she actually read it from the top down. Wisdom, understanding, counsel, and knowledge. But we know that in real life, it works what? In the inverted way. We begin with knowledge. We receive counsel and advice. This gives us an understanding. And then we can what? Practically apply that knowledge in a correct manner. That is the wisdom portion of this. That's very important. Read it once again, if you don't mind.
On to the next one.
And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might,